Today in this video, we're taking a look at Boreal, a new 50-liter camera backpack made by PolarPro. I'm going to share with you everything you need to know about the bag, and I'm going to share with you my opinions about it, the pros, the cons, and whether I think this bag is worth buying. In full disclosure, PolarPro did provide me with Boreal, and I get to keep the bag after producing this review. Everything you hear in this video is my honest and unbiased opinion about the bag. Beautiful rock formation. This is like a giant chunk of granite that's just hanging on the side of this hill here, overlooking the river. And I saw this hiking in and thought I would climb up and check it out. And I'm glad I did, because this is really cool. And I think on a better day with better light, I could come back and photograph this. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about photography. I'm here to talk about Boreal. So PolarPro did something rather interesting with their design for Boreal. Instead of going with the standard like 400D nylon that you typically see on other camera backpacks and backpacks in general, for Boreal, they intentionally used a heavier gauge of nylon. This is a 600D nylon, and that does make the bag a little bit heavier than a conventional camera backpack. Like when it's totally empty and you put it on, you can definitely tell that it's a little bit weightier than other bags. But the upside is this heavier gauge of nylon, this heavier material, should help protect the bag better against rips, against tears. I actually wore this bag not too long ago, hiking through some woods where there was a bunch of thorns and a bunch of like low-hanging branches, but it turned out perfectly okay, and it looks perfectly fine. When I look at this bag, like the first thing that I thought of was like one of those like black leather motorcycle jackets, one of those like really expensive ones, that kind of like the glossy nature of it. It almost looks like black leather. And also this really cool asymmetrical zipper on the front. I'm kind of obsessed with this zipper. It's almost like a scar, like, you know, cutting across the face of the bag. And there's just something, I don't know, it gives the bag like a certain edge, a certain look. There is a pocket up here at the top of the bag. There is a waterproof seam on the outside of this zipper. And you may know, if you've seen some of my past videos, this is something that's rather important to me. I always like to have a pocket at the top of the bag. Outside, something small that you can use for, what do I have in here? You know, something like a wallet. You could stick some keys in here, some earbuds, whatever you got. Now, speaking of rain, unfortunately, Boreal does not come with a custom fitted rain cover. I have other camera backpacks that actually cost less than Boreal that came with rain covers. For whatever reason, Boreal does not come with one, which for an outdoor-centric backpack seems like, to me, the kind of thing that should just have been included with the bag and should have been integrated into the design, because as it stands now, you do have to purchase one separately. Okay, so again, we have the asymmetrical zipper here. There's also a side kind of diagonal zipper here, just a little thin pocket here for some items. And then here on this side, this is actually the laptop pouch. This can accommodate laptops up to 16 inches in size. This is actually a rather interesting design move, because most camera backpacks, as you may know, put the laptop sleeve in the back of the bag so that the laptop is flat up against your back. But PolarPro intentionally moved it to the front. And I think part of the reason why they did is because, I don't know about you, but I don't carry a laptop when I'm out in the field shooting. If I'm out hiking and doing stuff like this, no. So PolarPro, I think, deprioritized the laptop by moving it to the front, which actually created more space here on the back. And it also made this back flat back here skinnier, because it does not have to accommodate, you know, a big laptop, a big bulky laptop. So down here on the bottom, we have some side pockets here for a tripod or a water bottle. They're both exactly the same, and there's one on both sides. The other thing I like is that there are 3 lateral straps. There's one down here with the pocket, then there is one in the middle here, and then there is another one up here at the top of the bag. I have found sometimes on other camera backpacks that without this top strap up here to tighten it down, sometimes taller tripods have a tendency to sway and kind of move back and forth while hiking. But I had no trouble at all with my ProMediaGear TR344L tripod, which is a pretty tall tripod anyway. So whatever tripod that you're currently using, you shouldn't have any trouble with it. The thing that's a little unusual about these side pockets, and I haven't, just to clarify, I haven't had any trouble with these so far. They're working perfectly fine, but they are made of this kind of like light spandex stretchy kind of material, and they're stitched into the bag, and my hope is that they hold up. I don't know, this is the kind of thing that's just going to require more time. Also with the exterior, I actually don't have it with me right now, but I'll put some B-roll up here on the screen. Boreal also includes this lattice, like this mesh accessory that comes with the bag that mounts here to the front. And this is something that you could use to hang additional items, to carry additional bulkier items. If you have something extra that you need to bring, that's a nice accessory that you could throw on. And for those of you who like to access your camera gear through the side of the bag, a side opening to get into the interior and pull a camera body out instead of taking the bag off and going through the back, there is a side opening here underneath this pouch. So earlier I mentioned this expandable roll top here on the top of the bag because this adds an additional 15 liters of cargo space to the bag, bringing it to 50 liters. This is honestly like one of my favorite things about Boreal because it gives me a place to be packing weird things like my lunch and hats and gloves and jackets. It's such a pain trying to fit like the bulky jackets and clothes and food and stuff inside of a camera compartment. Like it just doesn't work quite as well. And this flap, by the way, is made of the same 600D nylon material that you find elsewhere on the bag. And something else some of you may want to know is that you can access the interior of the bag through the bottom of this expandable area. You can go directly into the top of the camera bag here. So if you had like some, large item, something that was unusually tall, you can go inside of the camera bag from here if you need to. This does have a DWR polyurethane coating on it that's similar to what you'd find on rain jackets and pants and other outdoor apparel. Again, in order to make this bag completely waterproof, you would need to get the aforementioned Rainfly. So the zippers are all high quality YKK zippers with beige pull tabs on them, really easy to use, very durable. They're not like the thin little zippers that you sometimes see, like the cheap ones that you see on other camera backpacks. These are very well made, very durable, and that's especially true for this zipper on the back flap of the bag. This one has very large teeth, which makes it much faster and easier to quickly zip and unzip, which is an important thing when you're, laying the bag down on the ground and you need to get into the bag to get a camera lens out. You don't want to be futzing around with a zipper when you're when you're out in the field. So the zipper is great and very nice choice. So the inside of Boreal is rather large. This is, according to my measurements, right around 2,000 cubic inches of space inside of here, which for comparison is about like 500 to 700 cubic inches larger than some of the other camera backpacks that I've owned and used in the past. And more space means more gear. It means that you can get on an airplane and pack this thing full of camera bodies, lenses, lithium batteries, all the kind of stuff that you don't want to be checking with your luggage, the kind of stuff that you need to bring on an airplane. So in addition to being large, the interior of Boreal is also deeper than your conventional camera bag because most other camera bags are designed primarily for mirrorless cameras, for smaller mirrorless camera bodies and lenses which aren't as tall or as large. But the Boreal dividers and interior are designed around users who need to be carrying larger pieces of gear like medium format cameras, cinema cameras, cine glass. Everything sits lower inside of the bag than they do with other camera bags that I've used. Now, as much as I like the interior cavity, as much as I like the size and the depth, the main problem with this, and one of the cons of Boreal, in my opinion, at least this first version of Boreal that PolarPro has released, is the fact that these dividers are very dense. Like they're very hard. I mean, it feels almost like there's cardboard inside of here. There's like, I'm bending this right now and there's very little flex at all, which has the added benefit, of course, of providing more protection for your gear, but that rigidity and the fact that they have these rather thin Velcro tabs here on the side, that rigidity and these thin strips of Velcro mean that these tabs are always coming undone. Like I set up the interior, I get it just how I want it, and then as soon as I like stick a lens or a body inside of one of here, there's no flex or affordance with with the material being used in these dividers here, so they just have a tendency to break apart, which if you're like a little OCD like me, makes me crazy because I'm constantly trying to like, you know, push the tabs back together in order to get my layout back the way it was, but they just keep separating, they keep coming apart. So I think there's two problems with these dividers. As I mentioned, I think they're just too stiff, they're too hard. I feel like they need to come up with a softer, more malleable material here. And I feel like these Velcro tabs should also be larger, maybe even twice as large as they currently are, because that would hold them in place better. It would make them stronger, because right now they're a little weak. So, okay, it started raining while I was out there. I knew it was going to rain at some point, and it just started pouring while I was out there. All right, let's continue now by talking about the overall fit and comfort level of Boreal. Is this a backpack that you can truly wear for hours at a time when you're out on the trail, hiking, when you're out doing landscape photography, outdoor wildlife photography? Well, I think it's a rather difficult question to definitively answer because everyone's going to have a different opinion about it. You know, what's comfortable to me may not be comfortable to you and vice versa. But there are some things about this bag that are definite that will affect everyone. First, it's important to know, I think, that Boreal is a one-size-fits-all bag. In other words, when you buy the bag, you don't have the option of ordering it with a smaller or larger harness on the back, as you sometimes see with outdoor hiking, mountaineering style of backpacks. Second thing to know, the harness on the back of Boreal is not adjustable. It's not possible to raise or lower the position of the shoulder straps to accommodate torsos of different lengths because these shoulder straps are stitched directly into the back of the bag, which for the average person may not be that big of a deal. If you are a person of average height, the bag may fit you perfectly fine. However, if you are someone at either end of the spectrum, if you are shorter than average or if you are taller than average, like me, because I happen to be 6'4", well, the fit of the bag is not going to be quite as optimal. And how this fixed shoulder strap design affects me is that then Boreal sits higher on my back than I would like, which means I have to loosen up the shoulder straps in order to get the bag down lower so the waist belt is directly over my hip bones where it should be. That's basically the place where you always want your waist belt to be, like basically like directly across from your belly button. And in order to get the waist belt down to that position, I have to lengthen these shoulder straps to force the bag down lower onto my hips, which makes the shoulder straps shorter coming across the front of my chest here. Ideally, you want a shoulder strap to, you know, basically come down to like 2 or 3 inches below your armpit. And this just basically like hits me like right here. Like it rides up rather high on me, which causes the sternum strap to also sit a little bit higher as well. So for me, Boreal is comfortable enough for like a full day of photography. It's by no means an uncomfortable bag to wear. It's just that I wish I could optimize and get a better fit with the bag by raising and lowering these shoulder straps here in order to make them more comfortable. Okay, so as far as accessories go, additional items that you can buy for the Boreal backpack, there is the Rainfly rain cover, which I talked about earlier. That'll cost you an additional $20, and I think that's a really smart thing to be adding on. Additional accessories include packing cubes. So this is a 10-liter packing cube here, and there's also a 20-liter, which is effectively double the size of this here. And this is made of the exact same material. You may notice it looks exactly the same as the bag. This is made of the same 600D nylon, has the exact same YKK zippers on it with these pull cords on them. It is unquestionably like, you know, the nicest packing cube I think I've ever seen. I mean, I have some pretty cheap ones from Amazon that I use when traveling, and this is so much nicer. The materials, the construction, the zippers, and I mean, they look really sharp together as well. And the cubes are also measured and fitted to fit the interior of the bag as well. So you can put this in the bag and then build your divider system around it. But otherwise, I mean, it's just a packing cube. So, you know, there's nothing particularly different or special about it other than the materials and the fit. And the fact that they go so well together. So ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether they're premium price tag is worth the money. Additional accessories include a Boreal tech pouch. PolarPro did not provide me with one of those, so I can't really comment on it, but it looks like a nice pouch to be storing cables, cards, batteries, lens caps, other types of items. And again, that particular pouch is made of the same 600D nylon material, same zipper, similar to the packing cubes. So one last thing to know about Boreal, this bag is covered by a lifetime warranty. PolarPro calls this their adventure assurance policy. And this is basically a warranty that covers the bag for as long as you own and use it. And it covers all normal wear and tear with the bag, as long as you're using the bag for its intended purpose. All right, so let's summarize everything and talk about the pros and cons of Boreal. My opinion, I think the 50-liter Boreal is a smart, stylish, durable backpack that has a lot going for it. And by the way, it's worth pointing out that this is actually PolarPro's first camera backpack. They made a backpack a number of years ago for, I think it was like a DJI-inspired drone, something like that. It was more of like a specialty item. I don't even think they're selling it anymore. But this is their first true camera backpack. And for a first attempt, I mean, they did a pretty awesome job with it. And I think you can definitely, see and feel that PolarPro like brand aesthetic coming through in the materials that have been used here and the construction and the overall look and feel of it. And it also has some really nice features that you are going to have a hard time finding, I think, on other camera bags, including the depth of the interior here. I love the fact that the tabs are taller to accommodate larger camera bodies and lenses. I think that's really smart. But my favorite feature of all is, without question, this expandable roll top up here, because this solves a very common issue that I've had countless times with other camera backpacks, not being able to carry additional items when the interior of the bag is already full of camera gear. I also love having pockets on both sides, one for a water bottle and one for a tripod, so I don't have to choose which to carry while I'm hiking. And I also like the fact that it has 3 lateral straps on the side here to accommodate taller tripods. But, no design is perfect. I mean, there's always ways in which a product can be improved in the future. And when it comes to Boreal, this first version of Boreal, I would love to see PolarPro revisit the harness on the back and make this more adjustable to get a better fit. I think that would be fantastic. I would also like to see them revisit these dividers. I feel like they're rather stiff and they're not quite strong enough. I feel like if they softened them up a little bit and made the tabs a little bit thicker, made the Velcro strips a little bit larger, it would make organizing and building out the interior of the bag better. And then finally, there is the price. Now, prices obviously can and will change, and sometimes these things go on sale. But at the time of this video, at least, Boreal retails for $450, which is at the premium end of the scale for a camera backpack like this. Most camera backpacks similar to Boreal retail for like $250, $300, $350, something like that. So $450 is definitely higher than normal. But I think part of the reason for that is because of the heavier gauge material that's been used here, the durability of the bag. And it just looks and feels like a more expensive bag to be constructing than other more conventional camera backpacks. So in some ways, I'm not surprised that the bag costs $450, but that is a good chunk of change when you consider alternate options that are available out there. But what I would do if I were you is open up the video description down below and click on the Boreal link provided there in order to check the current price and make sure that what I just shared with you is still accurate. By the way, if you do end up purchasing Boreal or any Boreal accessory or a different product through PolarPro using that link, that is an affiliate link, which means that this channel would receive a small commission in return for your purchase at no additional cost to you. So your purchase would go towards supporting the content that you see on this channel. And it'd be great if you used it. So I would love to hear from you. Do you own and use Boreal? Do you have any comments about it? Anything that I missed in this video that other people should know about the bag? Anything that you think is helpful? Please feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm sure that other people watching this video would appreciate your input. And if you have any questions about the bag, if there's anything specific you want to know about it, also feel free to leave a comment. You'll also find my contact information in the video description down below if you would care to reach out to me that way. That's it for me. Thanks to PolarPro for supporting this video and for providing me with the Boreal backpack for review. And I'll see you next time.